It's time for the news.
Another UFO sighting has taken place.
Like the leather's made out of cardboard.
The number you have dialed is in an alternate dimension.
Ooh, wow, welcome back to Weird Week. It's Wednesday, hump day. I like that commercial. You remember that commercial?
Hump Day? There was a
The Hump Day
commercial for that?
No, well, it wasn't a commercial for Hump Day, but it kind of was. It was a camel in like the office.
Camel the cigarettes?
No, it was just like a camel, and he was walking around the office, like not like the office, but like he was walking around an office, and he would just like walk around and be like Hump Day because he's got like a hump on his back. So like Wednesday was like his favorite day. I don't remember what the commercial was for. I think it was like, you got annoying coworkers, do blah blah blah, something like that. But it was just funny because there was like a camel. It was a bunch of regular like humans. It wasn't like a bunch of animals. It was just like the camel and a bunch of humans.
Yeah, it would annoy me if someone did say that. I'm on my desk doing my work and somebody's like Hump Day. I'm like, oh my god, it's only a Wednesday, bro. Let's give it a rest.
Like, yeah, it's Hump Day.
Our Fridays were like TGIF. Everybody was like casual Fridays and
yeah, well, that's a day to celebrate, right? That is a day to celebrate.
Yeah,
not Hump Day. Some people, I think Hump Day, it is a celebration day because they look at it as like we've gotten through half of the week. Like they already look at that as gotten through half of it. But that's a much more glass half full perspective, and
we're looking at half empty. I'm like, oh my god, it's only a Wednesday.
We can be a little pessimistic around here. Weird Week. We need to try to flip that mentality around. You know what I'm talking about? But work weeks are rough. Microsoft says we should be working at home and shouldn't be trying to push back whatsoever in terms of working at home. They think that it might be healthier for us in a lot of ways. I think that it's them partly trying to save on cost of having to build infrastructures that house people or have people there for their work days, but at the same time I think they're also like hitting on something a lot of us have witnessed over like recent time with COVID, that we can work from home. A lot of us can work from home now with a lot of what we do for work. A lot of us can work from home.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, it's Lucy Cooper from the head of customer innovation from Europe, the division in Europe, I believe. So yeah, she said that work from home would affect single parents and young people. I guess young people because of work-life balance, and young people because I guess it's young parents because not young parents, single parents. Because I guess it helps to have them working from home so they can tend to their children.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that Microsoft is smart enough not to just like throw a random argument out there. I think they're gonna have pretty good justified reasons for why they'd say something like this. So I don't think it's strictly just them trying to like save money and whatnot. I think they make some really good points. When you think about like maternity leave and whatnot, that would help a ton in the sense that women could probably work longer into their pregnancy if they're able to actually just stay at home during the work instead of having to like worry about getting out of the house and doing the extra laborious type things, just things like just all around, you could probably work into older age. And I know that it's like this doesn't necessarily sound good for a lot of people. A lot of people are like, no, I don't want to work while I'm pregnant. No, I don't want to work more into my old age. But I'm just saying, working from home does provide those kinds of benefits. If you do decide you don't want to retire, if you like working and you want to keep your nose to the grindstone, you can always end up working longer, staying at home and stuff like that.
Yeah, I had my first experience with working from home, out when the whole pandemic happened and everything was shut down. And I don't know, it's just working from home. It is nice not to deal with traffic trying to get to and from work. But that's the one big plus side. It's also nice to do your work in your underwear and have Netflix on the TV while you're doing your work. Because technically, most jobs can be done from home.
Hmm.
But you do, I would have to admit that you do lose that sense of camaraderie that you build with being physically present with your coworkers and your team and your department.
Hmm.
So it's yeah, I mean, I know that there's a lot of companies wanting their staff back to work from the office, but I wouldn't be opposed to like a hybrid thing where you're only there for like a certain amount of days when you have to, I guess, do meetings and I guess that you have to be there for certain. I don't know but I know I did when I did work from home, like Teams and Slack was like blowing up because they felt like now since you're working from home, I can ask you a bunch of questions. And I think when
Yeah.
the ironic thing is when I was physically in the office, most people would like try to get all their questions out of the day in the beginning of the day or end of the day, and then just kind of like leave you alone to work in your from your desk. But
Mhm.
man, Teams and Slack was just blowing up just with questions and just kind of like, oh, I can't
Right.
watch Netflix. I
Yeah.
can't finish Squid Game.
Give me 2 seconds, guys. Just 2 seconds. Uh, well, I think that it also is just it's person by person basis. If you ask me again, there's a lot of different things in the world that tend to be just like, preference based and whatnot. I think that this is something that's preference based. And if you get your socialization through work a lot of the time, then maybe, yeah, you should, as a preference, try to find something that is not a work from home job. But if that's kind of not really how you normally get your socialization, um, or whatever else you need from work to go in physically, I can see plenty of people being like, oh well, I go to X, Y, and Z, I go to aerobics class or whatever, and that's how where meet my friends, and sometimes work isn't the social hub that it is for others. So I can see both sides, and I think it's really comes down to a preference thing. I think it comes down to, if you are physically able to make it into the job, w- you know, uh, I, remote work. If you if you're working very far from the company, it makes it much easier to get the job done if you don't have to actually go in and commute 2-3 hours. But I think you had already touched on that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's more so than a social thing. It's also like building a camaraderie with people you work with. It's good to establish something so you're working with them and given your goals in life, it's probably some people are going to be at that company for a while. And it's best to just build a. I mean, you guys don't have to grab drinks afterwards, but definitely like it's to at least have established some type of relationship within the workspace is important. And I think a lot of times it is missing when you do work from home. I would give it that argument. A lot of times even like it's funny because like one of my coworkers and I we used to play chess. We used to go to chess.com and we used to like after like if during slow days we like I toggle into my window and then we would play chess and sometimes like I'm busy with answering emails or doing work and he would just kind of like lean over to me and like, hey, it's your move. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I go in and make my little chess move and then it's just kind of like it's fun. But when he moved to a different state. It's kind of because of the work from home we did lose that camaraderie. So I mean, from personal experiences, you do lose that.
Yeah, I still think it's a personal preference thing, but
Mhm.
you have a great point, Daniel Kim. Of course, you make a great point. Um, but yeah, I do think it's a personal preference thing. Montana has passed a complete TikTok ban.
No more dance challenges anymore, or what's a new challenge in TikTok? Oh,
You
there's
know,
that side eye one where you have your. There's one I see with like they take a picture of you from the front and they kind of scan like pan to to the side of your face and you kind of give a mean side eye look.
I don't know that I know that one.
Yeah, there's a
There's
ton. I don't
there's a
know.
ton of
There's
them.
yeah.
Yeah. But while we're on the topic of um working from home. TikTokers usually working from home for the most part, or working while they're traveling or something like that. TikTokers obviously are getting upset about this, especially the ones that kind of make their money through the company. I would imagine that Montana doesn't have a huge influence of TikTok uh influencers that are actually like making all their money off of TikTok, but
No,
there's
I don't
definitely
know.
people being affected
Mhm,
by it,
mhm.
um, especially just like socially. I think there's going to be, workarounds. Kids will
Like VPN.
probably, huh?
VPN.
Yeah, VPNs and things
Yeah.
like that, so that people can kind of like hack their internet to make it seem like they're from a different area in the country or something like that.
Mhm,
But it is, we just want to touch on it a little bit because it is just the first of what could potentially be like a lot of bans of TikTok in our country. And we had already spoken on it a little bit before, but this is the first of it like actually being put into place.
mhm.
Honestly, I think my opinion is pretty much the same as it was last time, and I don't really think that it's gonna um I don't think that it's gonna like last. I don't think they're gonna be able to keep this in effect for too long. I think there's gonna be too much of an uproar at some point. TikTok is just really huge right now. It's the biggest social media platform out there right now. Like everything else is kind of on the back end of their livelihoods, Facebook and Instagram and whatnot, while TikTok is still kind of like really soaring across like the globe. Facebook and Instagram not as like globally popular right now.
Yeah. I mean, did they say? I mean, so no one could download TikTok or use TikTok? I mean, what's this? What does this law?
Under this law, which will take effect January 1st, 2024, Google and Apple's app stores will be forbidden from offering the app and could face fines of $10,000 per violation per day. Individuals who use the app, however, won't be penalized. So it really comes down to the banning of it in stores.
Okay.
If you already have it downloaded on your phone, it sounds like you should be fine.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, I don't know. Then I guess we have about they have 6 months to download TikTok, I guess. But I don't know. Like it just seems weird. I mean, this whole TikTok thing, and it just seems weird to me. I don't know why they're banning it. Well, let me just take this opportunity to just say visit our TikTok at Weird Week. But yeah, I mean, it just it it just this is where just draw the line and just like what's the purpose of this? Because it just are you really concerned for public safety? Yeah, I guess China spyware is a concern, it's a national concern, but what do you learn from TikTok from when Chinese let's say the Chinese government does spy on TikTok. It's a well-known fact. I mean,
Mhm.
what are you going to learn from a bunch of kids dancing? Like it's just what's the purpose of this? Like
Right.
when warfare comes around, it's like those American kids, they sure love dancing. And when we
Right.
go to war, just blast some hot music and they just would they won't have enough, they'll just be unfocused and they'll just start dancing and that's when we go in and invade. Like it just doesn't make any
Right.
sense to me. Like I don't know what the purpose of this is. I guess it's just like a lot of times when you heard the CEO of TikTok spoke before Congress, and it's just like, oh, it was a platform they use for different like illegal activities. But I think I said this before, where you know, just yeah, it's a platform to do it, but 99% of people aren't using it for illegal activities. It's just like, yeah, they're using it as a means to some people are using it means to do legal things, but is TikTok really the blame for it?
Right.
I don't know. It's just to me, it's just like I don't know where does this ban stop? When are we gonna kind of get to the root of the problem instead of just banning like banning stuff left and right, where it's a bandage to a much larger problem.
Right. I think they want to like argue that it's, they're not worried about the dancing, obviously. It's more so they're concerned about people's private data, their locations being tracked and things like that. But I think you have a very justified argument, and and at the end of the day, it's like if China wanted to track people's location, I'm sure they'd find another way to do it anyways. Like there's a lot of like the information that I think, like you were saying, that they're looking for is, even if it is kind of some of its personal information, it's a lot of it's going to be accessible. A lot of it's going to be accessible somewhere else very easily. And I just don't think that TikTok should be held like accountable for like, um for things that they haven't necessarily done. Like no, I think we're accusing them, of being nefarious because they're because they were created in another country. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like, can't apps just sit side by side in a phone and be friends? Why does one app have to hate on another app?
I don't know. I just think this ban is, I don't know. Kids are gonna be find a workaround upon it. I think the true way to ban, like, to make TikTok die down, is a bunch of congressmen be like, "We want to get in on TikTok," and all the young kids are like, "Oh man, they're doing it," and they're just gonna find another app to do it
Yeah,
to dances on.
that's a good
That's my
point.
theory.
If you want to depopularize it, like get a bunch of old people on the platform. That's why Facebook and Instagram died.
Yeah.
Young people
I-
were like, "Oh my
yeah,
god, my grandparents are on here."
yeah, exactly. As soon as your grandparents start downloading TikTok and Instagram, all the young kids were like, let's jump on another app, guys."
Yeah, yeah. Oh man. While we're on the topic of internet platforms, we've got YouTube TV here. Shows YouTube TV shows are repeating Little Mermaid ads instead of end of playoff game. Oh,
Yeah.
so like the end of a playoff game where it's like crucial to see. It's what, an NBA playoff game.
Yeah.
So
The
it's like
Eastern Conference Finals, game one.
crucial
Yeah.
final moments,
Yeah.
and they
And
won't stop playing a trailer of the Little
yeah.
Mermaid.
Yeah. Which is Disney's like, thank you guys. Thank
Yeah.
you, YouTube TV.
Disney's like, man, we didn't have to pay for how many spots?
Yeah, exactly. But Celtics fans and Miami Heat fans weren't too satisfied.
But
were
they got
just
to hear
like,
the beautiful vocals of Halle Bailey.
exactly.
Yeah.
But they were just like, I could have I typed this up in the search bar later. Give me the results. Let me watch the fourth quarter.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's so funny. It's random. But it is like so weird, and it just played on a loop for 5 minutes. Like it's like
Mhm.
nobody wants to sit there and watch a trailer of anything 5 minutes straight. Like,
Yeah. Could you imagine if like you put out an ad for like your, I don't know, whatever you're trying to advertise, and like let's say it was during the Super Bowl and they repeated it a few number of times, you'd be
Right.
like, "Thank you, Super Bowl.
Right.
Algorithm gods were in my favor."
Of all the companies to get that kind of a gimme, though, it had to be Disney.
Yeah.
Like Disney doesn't need that kind of a handout, but at the same time, and it's not the Super Bowl, but the NBA playoffs are very well televised. They are,
Yeah.
that is prime time TV. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people tuning in, and you can just imagine all the little girls out there that didn't really pay much attention to the game whatsoever, but they're hanging out with their dad anyways.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden that TV spot comes on and they're just stoked and they're singing along with her, and then it comes on again and they're just stoked singing along with her, and they're like, dad, look, this is awesome. And he's like, no, what's happening?
Shut up before let me throw this TV across the room.
I got gizmos and gadgets aplenty. It's funny.
It's galore.
We keep touching on things that we've been touching on previously. I don't know if it's just that like the stories are lining up with each other, or if we just like keep accidentally referencing stuff from old episodes, but we just literally sang that song. That's so funny.
Hey, predict the future. That's us.
That's us. Moving right along through some more Disney info. We've got actually, it looks like the rest of the episode is going to be pretty much Disney oriented. Disney's gotten themselves into some weird waters, not necessarily hot waters, not necessarily cold waters, some weird waters. To start out, other than having that layup, that that Little Mermaid layup that they got
That was a slam
the
dunk.
NBA.
That was a free throw line dunk.
That was an alley oop from the NBA. They just slammed that marketing home. No, there's some like controversial things going on with the Disneyland or Disney World resorts rather out in Florida. Apparently some legislation had been approved that I believe gave Disney like more control over their tax situation in Florida. And DeSantis, the governor of Florida, who will be running for president under the Republican ticket, has been fighting Disney in the sense that I think he kind of like revoked that legislation, or he like made new legislation to alter the previous legislation, where Disney head Bob Iger is arguing that it's just not business friendly. Like they're just not working with businesses, period. And so there's this big there's a lot of stuff going on with that. And I mean, it's essentially big politics versus big business, which you almost never see. So they're always like shaking hands and being friendly with each other. If anything, that's only positive things going on between politics and big business. But no, this time they're at war with each other. And it's interesting because it's like, it is big politics and big business. It's like two people that have a lot of power, so it'll be interesting to see where it goes. Right now, from the latest update I'm seeing, DeSantis is trying to disqualify the judge of the current of the case currently, saying that the judge has is like impartial, or is that they are, or questioning the impartiality of them.
So he thinks that he's accusing the judge of being more partial toward Disney's side. So he thinks that they're going to feel okay.
But I mean, to me, at the end of the day, it's like, which judge is going to be on your side? Like, they're probably.
How dare you go up against the mighty Mickey Mouse, right?
Right.
I'd vote for him for president if I could.
Exactly. It's like, I mean, Disney's still big business, but they're like, there's still people are still see them as like as a more positive reflection than a more negative reflection, I'd say, on the whole. So it's interesting. I don't know how he's gonna find himself a judge that is impartial. It's like, what? So you get a judge that's partial to your side, and then you're like, oh yeah, they're impartial.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been following the story as closely, but I think, is this all because like Disney, they're accusing Disney of being more quote unquote woke or something, and that's why he's going after Disney? Because I don't even know how this thing all got started. I just know it I never saw the spark. I just mostly saw the Inferno.
I unfortunately don't know the spark either. I think it really, like, I think the thing is that whatever his legislation change wasn't necessarily directly attacking Disney, but Disney is going to end up taking too big of a blow or a change or something that they can't agree with the decision, and so they're trying to fight it.
Which is, I don't know if it's smart on DeSantis's like part.
Who fights Disney?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, even if I hear like people, like, let's say somebody says, "Oh, I'm going to Florida my first question is, are you going to Miami or are you going to Disney World? That'd be
Right.
my question. It's like like where else are you gonna go in
Yeah, what are you gonna
Florida?
do? Go fight gators? Like, what are you gonna do out there? There's nothing else
Yeah,
out in Florida besides the
so it's
beach, Disney, and gators.
yeah, so it's just kind of like like I don't know if like I don't know what's gonna happen, the end result, but if like let's say you do piss off Disney where they want to kind of move their attractions to a different place, I don't know, that might be a huge blow to their tourism industry.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. You have to wonder like how it kind of plays into his political plan because that might
Hmm.
also be a big part of it. It might also just be like a big publicity thing for essentially for him to try to get noticed before his campaign. Because I tell you
Yeah,
what, I haven't looked into the name DeSantis before, and now I am, and it's right before his presidential campaign kicks off. You know what I mean? It could be
yeah,
very easily a way for him. You're fighting Disney, like, of course his name's going to get into the news and stuff. So
yeah.
it could be very much just a political play of him trying to get publicity.
Hmm. Yeah,
Who
it's
knows?
him versus Donald Trump apparently.
Yeah, well, that's we shouldn't get too deep into all that territory, but it is interesting kind of seeing what's going on right now. Trump's support is waning. You can see it. You can tell like after all of the criminal charges have finally been like brought up and everything and he's going through trial and everything like his support is definitely waning. I definitely thought the same thing last time he won an election, but this time it definitely feels more real because he has more things to like really own up to in a lot of ways that even his old supporters, a lot of them can't back it, what he's done. They can't.
Yeah,
They just can't.
yeah. But I don't know.
I
I'm not
don't.
sure if it's a political move, but I know that there's a lot more fans of Disney.
Right. And I mean, again, at the end of the day, a lot of people are going to end up taking Disney's side because of that. And that's where it's like, I mean, you're fighting Disney. What are you doing? Are you crazy? Are you
Yeah,
crazy? I mean, I guess like the one thing is that he's saying, like, basically, Disney doesn't need more money. Like, they could give us, the government, more money. And it's like, I can see you saying like Disney doesn't need more money. I can understand that. That makes sense. But like, does the government need more of my money also? Like, which
yeah.
side am I on? I'm like,
Yeah.
I think I would rather give the Mickey Mouse Company my money than the government at this point if they're just going to be putting it in the military and stuff. Like, I mean, come
Exactly.
on. Like,
Keep making MCU movies, Star Wars movies, and more Pixar, please.
it's a double-edged sword, and I'd rather have the side that has Mickey Mouse and Marvel superheroes and Star Wars, like you said. My God, back and like I was saying, this is a very Disney heavy episode, so let's just move right into the next Disney topic while we're here. Disney is going to close the Star Wars hotel that opened in Florida last year. It was the Galactic Star Cruiser, and it was like this really, really in-depth, like cosplaying almost experience where everything about the hotel was Star Wars. All of the employees were in character dressed as like aliens and things like that. All of the food was very like spacey looking, eccentric. I'm sure they put tons of blue and green dye and stuff. Uh, but they would charge like an extravagant amount. I believe it was $5,000 a night, and that's just
Yeah,
like
for like two people or something like that. It's
right.
a crazy price. I mean, if you're a Star Wars head and you have that money to blow, I mean, yeah, this is the place for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I was like really, really into the idea when I first heard about it. Obviously, before I heard about the pricing, and even after I heard about the pricing, I was still pretty excited just for knowing that somebody was trying to create a Star Wars experience like this. I mean, somebody I know Disney owns them now. It was just uh I grew up on Star Wars in a way that no matter how much Disney F's up lately, I'm like, I have hope that they'll find a way to figure it out and get the IP back into like a good place where you just like you like the quality of the content that's coming out again. And to me, this isn't the, it's like this isn't the films or anything, so it's not necessarily the content that I am looking for, but it's better. It's a start. They're trying to work with the IP in a way that like I think I think like would make them the most money and that would get people the most like interested in the brand again, like have us try Star Wars food, like, but on a more grand scale. So it's not $5,000 a person. I think that's kind of what they were saying is going into this decision, is that they understood that they were overcharging essentially for the experience, that it was an experience for the most part that was very well received, but that they can try to now that they've done it kind of with like a test run, do implement these things on a more grander scale. So like for example, the food and the restaurants and whatnot, like maybe actually incorporate in the Star Wars lands like real restaurants that have like the aliens walking around and whatnot and being your server and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're also closing down they're stopping production of a Florida campus because of the DeSantis whole debacle. So yeah,
Like a
5,000.
university.
Yeah. So apparently they were going to build one in Florida too, but I mean, $5,000 is a steep price. I mean, they better give me Jedi training and an actual lightsaber for that
Oh yeah.
price.
Well, I mean, but they would say stuff like I think they might have actually you might have actually gotten a lightsaber with it. I know that you definitely did have those weird experiences where you could train and stuff like that.
Yeah, $5,000. $5,000 you pay, you must.
No, like you're saying, those got to be a legit lightsaber. I want that thing like melting metal.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, 5,000. That is,
It's steep.
I
It's very steep.
yeah. I mean, if I wish I had that money to blow. I mean, if I was, I don't know.
Right.
I would have to. I don't know what the experience is, but it's for 5,000 must be something. They must have planned something for kids. Ask for that price, but apparently
Right.
they labeled it luxury, so I don't know how luxurious it is. I mean,
I'm sure it was very luxurious. The thing is, like, yeah, how much money do you really intend on making off of like a luxury item, especially a luxury item that's so like niche? You have to be somebody that's like a Star Wars fanatic and have a ton of money to just kind of like blow on a vacation. So it's uh, yeah, it's just like in execution, maybe it was just a little too steep. But I again think that it was very much like a test process for them, that they were trying something out and they understood that it wasn't going to be like insanely profitable in that way. But I also don't think that they were necessarily projecting to shut it down as soon as they were. That is all. That is probably like not, yeah, just not what they were expecting to do.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's probably steep for Disney too. I mean, churros are like $8 there.
Yeah.
I
Space
mean,
churros are
if
gonna
you've been there
be.
recently, I remember when I was going as a kid, you weren't allowed to even bring water. Now I think they changed that word. Like, even if you
I think
have
you
water, they're
legally
just
have to
yeah,
be able to drink water, be able to bring
yeah,
water.
yeah. I think now they're like they can. People have like, well, I brought in water as of recently, so like it's just
People
yeah,
bringing in full in like lunch pails and stuff.
yeah. So I think they changed that policy because I mean, just
The food
sodas and
is
all that.
insanely expensive.
Yeah,
Like
it is
they don't
expensive.
make their money off of the prices of the food that they have. Like
Yeah.
for like the amount of families that are going to end up bringing in food, they probably have still a much higher amount of people that are coming in just ready to buy the expensive food. So
Yeah,
it's like, what, you
yeah.
guys aren't making your money? No, like let the poor parents that have 3 kids with them
Mhm.
bring like 6 PB&J sandwiches to give their kids so that they don't have to pay freaking $100 per meal.
No shame, no shame. It's just like it is pretty. I mean, it's also like a very Instagram worthy food too. Like,
Right. It's the
yeah,
happiest place on earth.
Yeah. So
You
$5,000
know
if you
what
have
you're
the money to
paying
pay.
for. Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, just don't go to Disneyland if you don't have the money. If you have the money, if you put the money aside and stuff, then go to Disneyland. But it's the kind of place where you got to have that money for it. You got to have like
Yeah.
several $100s to go and just blow on
Yeah.
on a few days of just
Yeah.
having fun.
Yeah. One of my ex-girlfriends, I paid for her and mine annual passes. It's like they even had like a payment plan for it because it was just
So expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like $50 a month for a year or something like that. You're like, okay, babe, we're going to Disneyland every weekend.
Yeah.
We don't go every weekend. This thing's not paying for itself, and you're paying me back. I'm not doing this. This money is coming out of your pocket if we're not going to Disneyland every other weekend. All right, guys. We've been talking too much Disney. This corporation's gotten plenty of money and time out of us. They got like 20 minutes of airtime on the NBA, and now they got 30 minutes of airtime with us. Disney, man. But I do support them still.
Yeah, we still love Disney. We're still gonna support Disney and
Still
give
gonna
them
go
our
watch
money.
their stuff. Yep.
Yeah, so it's just like Disney.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
There's still like plenty to talk about it, but it's like we can't at the end of the day. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like, subscribe, follow, give us all your money. Stop giving it to Disney. Give it to us. Stop giving it to DeSantis and Disney. Give it to us. Go to weirdweek.fyi and you can donate there. Otherwise, guys, have another beautiful few days. We'll see you on Friday. Peace.